Okay, good morning, class, and welcome to our recorded lecture of CO1 in Earth and Life Science. Okay, so I highly encourage you to watch and finish this video kasi next week we're going to proceed with CO2. Okay, so to start, let me share my screen first. Okay? Yan. Dito na tayo sa mga planets, no? And we are now at Pluto. Okay. So, let's describe what is Pluto, no? It's no longer classified as a true planet as of 2006. Okay? But Pluto is now a dwarf planet, no? Hindi na siya kasama sa official lineup ng solar system. Dati kasi 'di ba 9 planets 'yan and 8 planets na lang. So it's a tiny body with an icy surface and an unusual orbit. Okay? So take note nyo yung unusual orbit. Yan yung mga isa sa mga reasons kung bakit madi-declassify na yung Pluto, na-declassified na yung Pluto sa solar system. So bakit nga ba hindi na siya planet? Because it did not meet the 3 criteria set by the International Astronomical Union to define a full-size planet. Alam nyo ba kung anong nangyari? No? Pluto met all the criteria except one. So, ano yung criteria na yun? It has not cleared its neighboring region of other objects. So, that's why Pluto was declassified as a planet of the solar system. Okay, so ito yung tatlong criteria ng IAU. So it must be in orbit around the sun. Meron siyang enough mass to assume hydrostatic equilibrium, or in other words, a nearly round shape. And the third one is this. It has cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. Alright? Okay. So, ano pa? Yung mga reasons. So, because while it is large enough to have become spherical, it's not big enough to exert its orbital dominance and clear the neighborhood. In other words, because of Pluto's unusual orbit, it's not able to clear the neighborhood or its surrounding area, kaya tinanggal siya noong 2006. Oh, sad Pluto. Okay, now, yung slide na pinakita ko kanina, panoorin nyo na lang yon during your free time. Now, let's proceed to lesson 2, which is the Earth's subsystems. So we are now at the third and fourth objective for CO1, which is to describe that the Earth consists of 4 subsystems. And lastly, to evaluate the Earth's internal structure. What is a system? Okay. So a system is defined as any portion of the universe that can be isolated from the rest of the universe for the purpose of studying. So, isolated ang isang system, pwede siyang i-isolate from the rest of the universe and you can study it closely. Okay. So, for example, solar system, di ba? We've gone through this, and the solar system, as we all know, is part of the much larger universe. Whereas, of course, another example would be the Earth system. Okay? So, yung Earth or the Earth system is part of the larger solar system, and meron pa siyang subsystems, which is also known as Earth systems or spheres. So, maka-classify din natin, we could also classify the systems as a closed and an open one. So ano muna yung closed system? So by definition, a closed system is a self-contained system in which the boundary permits the exchange of energy but not matter with the surroundings. So ang Earth ay isang closed at open system. Okay? So example ng closed system, yung mga display sa museum. di ba? Na naka-enclose sa isang glass container. O, closed system yun. Next, an open system naman is an energy and matter flowing in and out of the system. Okay, so the Earth's interacting parts, okay, the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the biosphere, and the atmosphere. So, ayan yung mga subsystems ng Earth. Okay, altogether, they freely exchange their energy in and out of the open system. Ngayon, the Earth being a closed system, okay, Earth operating as that, the solar energy, the energy from the sun, okay, reaching the Earth's atmosphere and then eventually returning to the space as a long wavelength radiation. But still, okay, matter within the Earth is basically fixed or stable or constant. Okay? Whereas the subsystems of the planet Earth are operating or working as an open system. Okay? So, in other words, no, the main point of this is the four subsystems of the Earth are working as an open system, and at the same time, the Earth as a whole is a closed system. Okay? So, walang contradiction yun. Alright? Now, let's take a look at the four subsystems of the Earth. So, we have the atmosphere or the gases that envelop the Earth. Okay? Air. The hydrosphere or water or on or near the Earth's surface. Tubig. Biosphere, from the word bio, means life. Or all living or once living material on Earth. Okay? Mga nabubuhay at nabuhay noon. And then, of course, the geosphere or the solid Earth system, which also referring to rock and other inorganic Earth material. Lupa. Parang avatar lang, no? But anyway, let's take a look at some of the Earth's interactions. Okay? Sinabi natin kanina that the four subsystems of the Earth are like an open system. Di ba? Freely exchanging matter and energy. While at the same time, yung Earth itself, yung planeta natin, is like a closed system. Okay. So take a look at this, no? The solid Earth and the other systems or the spheres are interacting with each other. So like what happened in the 2011 Japan tsunami, okay? It involved the interaction of the geosphere, the land, and the hydrosphere or the water. But how? Okay, here's how. So the earthquake, okay, took place in the geosphere. Siyempre, lumindol, di ba? Lumindol sa lupa. Now, the energy was transferred by the earthquake into giant waves in the hydrosphere. Kaya nagka-tsunami. Okay? So, once again, we could take a look at this example na the hydrosphere and the geosphere interacted. Parang nag-connive sila, di ba? Nag-collab sila. Para lumindol sa lupa, nagka-tsunami sa tubig, ayun, na devastate ang bahagi ng bansang Hapon. Okay? When waves submerge the shore. Okay, another example. So, how does all four Earth systems interact with each other to produce soil? Ano daw gumagawa ang Earth ng lupa? Like we find in the farms, gardens, and such. Of course, the solid dirt is a mixture of decomposed and broken rock and organic matter. So, isummarize na lang natin ng two words, rock cycle. Okay? So, yung organic matter, ano ba yung mga yan? Di yung mga labi ng mga remains of dead plants, animals, and humans. Yeah, they get buried underground. Okay, eventually they decompose and become organic matter. The rocks coming from the geosphere, okay, they are exposed in the air, okay, sa atmosphere, and of course they get washed up by the hydrosphere or the water. So as you can see here, the four spheres or the four subsystems of the earth operating, collaborating with one another to produce soil. Okay, so intro pa lang yun. Now let's proceed first with the atmosphere. Okay, so itong video na to, hindi na natin ipi-play, pero ano na lang to, play it at your own free time. So the guy right here named Felix Baumgartner, he set a world record by jumping from the farthest point, farthest point ever in the Earth's atmosphere. Okay? But to get to know more about the atmosphere is basically a gas that envelopes or covers the Earth. And it's relatively shallow as compared to the Earth's geosphere. Now, what's the composition of or what comprises the Earth's atmosphere? The most abundant gas, okay, in the Earth's atmosphere is none other than nitrogen. Okay? 78% nitrogen. All right? Followed by oxygen at 21%, and then the rest of the 1% are shared by carbon dioxide, argon, helium, neon, hydrogen, and so on. Okay? So, tatandaan nyo yan. Most abundant gas in the Earth's atmosphere is 78% nitrogen. Okay. No question. Alright. So, titignan naman natin ngayon tong atmosphere. Okay? And I want us to remember this mnemonics. Trust me in the exam. Okay? Trust me in the exam. Bakit trust me in the exam? Oh. The first two letters yung TR. Okay? Refers to the troposphere. Okay? So the troposphere is the lowest layer of the atmosphere, and this is where all weather patterns occur. Okay? So sa troposphere nangyayari yung mga weather patterns. Ulan, thunderstorms, okay? Mga scattered rain showers, pag-araw, mahangin, etc. Okay? And then aside from that, the base is warmer, baba, than the uppermost portion. Okay? And the base of the troposphere is also heated by the Earth's surface that absorbs heat. Okay? So, that is the troposphere. Now, as you go up the troposphere, okay, habang umaangat tayo, nag-i-increase tayo ng altitude. Napapansin nyo? Habang nag-i-increase tayo ng altitude, ito yung altitude, di ba, sa graph na to. Okay, nasa x-axis naman yung temperature. Habang umaangat daw tayo sa troposphere, you notice that the temperature is getting colder. Nagdi-decrease siya, di ba? Now, as you reach this boundary, it's called the tropopause. Pause, di ba? Parang ganun. So, this is the boundary between the troposphere and, of course, the next layer, that is the stratosphere. So, ST, stratosphere. Okay, so the stratosphere is beyond the tropopause. And at the stratosphere, this is where airplanes travel. Okay? Bakit? Tingin nyo. Kasi po, wala nang mga masyadong disturbances dito. Okay? Not unlike sa troposphere, may mga, siyempre, may mga rain clouds dyan, di ba? at ayaw ma-experience ng mga pilot yung tinatawag natin na turbulence. Okay, ano pang meron sa stratosphere? Alright, so the stratosphere is also the site of the ozone layer. Okay, the ozone layer is like an invisible protection. Okay, it protects us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. Okay, di ba meron mga news noon nung time namin, may hole daw yung ozone layer. But now, the hole has closed and it continues to heal. Yan, it continues to heal. Okay? Now, let's move up the stratosphere. Okay? So, in the stratosphere naman, as you move up or higher, no? As you go higher, in a higher altitude, okay, you could see that the temperature here at the stratopause reaches at around 0 degree Celsius. Okay, so stratopause, yan yung boundary between the stratosphere and the mesosphere. So trust me, me, mesosphere. So the mesosphere extends upward from the stratopause. Okay, ano pang meron? In the mesosphere, the temperature decreases with height until at the mesopause. More than 80 kilometers above the surface, the temperature approaches negative 90 degree Celsius. So habang umaangat ka daw, tumataas ka ng altitude, mas lalong lumalamig yung temperature sa mesosphere. Okay? Until you reach the mesopause. Diba? Negative 90 degree Celsius at around 90 kilometers. Ang layo, di ba? Aside from that, in the stratosphere, this is where meteors probably lose their gas and disintegrate. Okay? In case, Pero 'di ba, may mga nakikita tayong incidences ng meteorite strike like what happened in Russia. Okay? So in mesosphere, the mesosphere is the coldest temperature anywhere in the atmosphere. And this is one of the least explored regions of the atmosphere. Okay. So, proceed na tayo sa thermosphere, no? Ito yung thermosphere. So, the thermosphere is above the mesosphere but has no well-defined upper limit. Okay? Aside from this, in the thermosphere, thermos, 'di ba? Parang ano siya, heat. Okay. Temperatures increase due to the absorption of a very short wave high energy solar radiation by nitrogen and oxygen atoms. What does that mean? In other words, okay, tumataas daw ang temperatura, umiinit habang tumataas yung altitude. Habang umaangat ka, okay, habang umaangat ka sa thermosphere, mas umiinit. Bakit? Kasi dito, ina-absorb yung mga solar radiation at kapag nasinagan yan ng nag-interact yan, okay, sa mga lights sa Earth, magpo-form siya ng tinatawag na aurora borealis or the northern lights. Okay, makikita yan sa Northern Europe, yung mga Icelandic Nordic countries. Very visible and evident yung northern lights na yan. Okay? Aside from that, the ISS or the International Space Station, okay, orbits the Earth within the middle of the thermosphere at around 330 and 435 kilometers. So, dyan naka-station yung ISS. So, what's beyond the thermosphere? What's beyond the thermosphere is, of course, the exosphere. Okay? Diba? Trust me in the, so yung thermosphere, exam. So, exam. Exosphere. So, the exosphere goes beyond the outer space. Dito nag-orbit yung mga satellite na dineploy ng iba't ibang space agencies sa planeta natin. Okay? So, yung video uli, panoorin nyo na lang yan at your own convenience. Okay, now let's proceed. Proceed to the hydrosphere. Okay, tubig na tayo, no? So, the hydrosphere is, of course, a dynamic mass of water. Okay? That is continuously or continually on the move. How? Through a process called the hydrologic or the water cycle. Okay? So, anong meron sa hydrologic water cycle? Of course, evaporation. Di ba? Large bodies of water such as oceans and seas evaporates, turns into water vapor because of the sunlight, di ba? And then goes to the atmosphere, turning into clouds, condensation, and then precipitating, bumabagsak pababa sa lupa, and then falls back to oceans and runoffs. Okay? So, 70% ng planeta natin is covered by water. Tanong, 70% ba ng tubig ay naiinom? Of course, the answer is no. Okay? Maliit na percentage lang ang tinatawag natin na potable water. Okay? Now, before the hydrosphere was divided into large ocean, okay? Meron tayong tinatawag na super ocean nun. It's called Pantalasa. Okay, so Pantalasa is the super ocean that surrounded the supercontinent Pangaea. Alam naman natin yung Pangaea, di ba? Supercontinent siya, okay? But because of the movement of the tectonic plates, okay, the continents drifted apart. Okay? So, which led to the division of the Pantalasa. Okay? So, ano nangyari? Okay, so ito na. The hydrosphere contains all the water found on our planet. Okay? In the form of what? Surface water, okay, found in oceans, seas, lakes, rivers, and creeks. Surface water. Okay? Yan yung nakikita natin. Pwede tayo maligo dyan. Okay? Explore. Okay? Use for travel. And of course, source of food. Fishing, di ba? Okay, next, groundwater. Groundwater naman is water in the soil and groundwater. So, yung tubig sa ilalim. Groundwater. And of course, water vapor that is present in the atmosphere. Okay? And lastly, we have frozen water in the form of ice caps and glaciers, also known as cryosphere. Okay? So, 70 to 71%, sabi ko nga kanina, ang coverage ng ocean sa planeta natin. Okay? 97.5% nung ocean na yon, unfortunately, salt water. Okay? Tubig alat. 2.5% of Earth's water naman represents the freshwater source. So, ito yung mga makikita sa glaciers, groundwater, okay? Na noon, ginagawang naiinom na tubig din, deep well, di ba? And rivers and lakes. Okay? So, titignan pa natin yan, yung division nitong pie chart na to. Okay? Actually, naiinom lang talaga dyan, mga 0.8 to 1% eh. Okay? Now, the hydrosphere is also divided by the land hemisphere and the water hemisphere. Okay? So, yung land hemisphere, also known as the northern hemisphere, whereas yung water hemisphere is also known as the Southern Hemisphere. Okay? So these hemispheres contains the largest possible total areas of land and ocean. Okay? Sige, simulan natin, no? What are the following oceans or largest oceans in the planet? So, let's start off with the largest and deepest ocean. Okay? This is the Pacific Ocean. Okay? So, itong Pacific Ocean na to, this extends from the Arctic Ocean in the north all the way to the Antarctic Ocean or Southern Ocean to the south. Actually, sakop din ng ah, Pacific Ocean ng Pilipinas. 'Di ba? Nasa eastern section ng Pilipinas yung Pacific Ocean. Diyan nga nabubuo yung mga malalakas na typhoon sa Pacific Ocean. So there we have it, no? The Pacific Ocean. Ayan siya, oh. Kita nyo naman, 'di ba? Ayan yung Arctic Ocean sa north. Ito yung North America, 'di ba? Canada at US. Okay? Tapos sakop din niya yung East Asia at saka Australia at New Zealand. Pati sama mo na rin dyan yung Africa. Okay? Tapos hanggang dito sa Antarctic Ocean or Southern Ocean. Alright? Next. We have the second largest ocean, which is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? And it's bounded by almost parallel continental margins, Europe and Africa to the east, and the Americas to the west. Tingnan natin. Ito yung Atlantic Ocean. Okay? Ito yung Europe. Ayan, oh. Europe sa eastern section. Ito naman yung Africa. Tapos, andito yung North America. And this is the South America. May naalala ko dito sa Atlantic Ocean, yung tinatawag nila na transatlantic slave trade. So yung mga imperialists, no, the English, they exported the slaves from Africa and then they shipped them out to North America through the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? Sad day in history. Okay. So let's move forward to the third largest ocean in the world, no, which is the Indian Ocean. Okay? Which is largely a southern hemisphere body of water, and it's bounded by Asia to the north, Africa to the west, Australia to the east, and Antarctica to the south. So ang Indian Ocean is named after a country which is none other than India. Okay? So dito yung Asia, ayan, no? Asia yan. Okay? Ayan. Dito pa yung Indian Ocean, sakop yan. Alright? And importanteng trade route ito noon. Well, until ngayon pa rin naman. Okay? So, pinangalan siya sa bansang India. Aside from that, dito nangyari yung tinatawag na 2004 Indian Ocean Tsunami. Okay? So, nagkaroon ng movement ng tectonic plates under the Indian Ocean, devastating the Indonesia, okay, and Thailand, and some parts of New Guinea, Papua New Guinea. The Philippines was spared from the tsunami. Okay, Indonesia acted as a barrier. Ayan yung Indonesia. Ito yung Pilipinas. Andito yung Indian Ocean. O, di ba? Swerte pa rin yung Pilipinas. Okay, next. We have the Arctic Ocean. So the Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest ocean in the world. 7% the size of the Pacific Ocean, di ba? Sobrang liit lang, no? And some people also call this ocean the Arctic Mediterranean Sea. Ayun, yung Arctic Ocean. Okay? Ito yung tawag dito, Greenland at Iceland. Okay? Tapos part ng Russia ito Siberia. So malamig diyan. Lastly, we have the Southern or the Antarctic Ocean. Okay? So as defined by the Antarctic Convergence or the meeting of currents near Antarctica. Okay? So the Arctic Ocean comprises the portions of the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans that lie about 50 degrees south latitude. So, ayan o. Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Ocean. Nagko-converge dito sa Southern Ocean. So, that is the hydrosphere. Now, we move on to the biosphere. Okay, so the biosphere is the life zone. Bio means life, like I said. Life zone of the Earth, which include all living organisms and all organic matter that has not yet decomposed. Mga nabubuhay, okay? And yung mga nabuhay noon at hindi pa nabubulok. And they are structured into a hierarchy, okay, that is known as the food chain. So yung food chain, babalikan lang natin ulit ito, basically shows us the transfer of energy within the ecosystem. So the food chain starts with the producers, also known as the autotrophs. So producers in the form of plants, okay, trees, phytoplankton, and so much more. And then, yung herbivore, tinatawag din natin na primary consumer or autotrophs. And then yung grasshopper, kinain ng daga. Okay, this is the secondary consumer. Yung rodent, kinain itong raccoon. Okay, maliit na rodent, kinain ng raccoon, which is a carnivore. And the tertiary consumer. And lastly, itong raccoon na to, kinain ng agila, which is the apex predator or the top consumer. Eventually, pag namatay ito, namatay yung mga yan, madidecompose sila ng mga fungi tsaka bacteria. O, di ba? Lipat-lipat lang yung energy, no? Sa ating ecosystem. And basically, okay, that's how the biosphere operates, which includes all life on Earth and the key part of the carbon cycle. Okay? And aside from that, may biosphere din sa ocean. And it's mostly concentrated on the surface water. Okay? And most life on the biosphere is concentrated at the surface or the land as well. Okay? So, yung carbon cycle, sinasabi lang naman nito, no? Yung carbon, which is an important element of life, is recycled through various processes. Okay? And then goes back again as a renewable source of energy. Okay? So, alam naman na natin to, itong fact na to. That the Earth is so far the only one known to hold life. The only planet that is habitable. Okay? Aside from that, the biospheres, no, influences other three spheres. Okay? So, kung walang biosphere, edi iba rin yung nature or yung orientation ng planeta na to. Okay? So, last but not the least, let's proceed to the geosphere. Ayan. Okay, so yung geosphere, of course, this is the solid Earth. O yung lupa nga. And then it extends from the surface to the center of the planet. And it's the largest of Earth's spheres. Okay? And dito pumapasok yung layers of the Earth, which is the crust, mantle, and the core. Okay. Explain muna natin tong geosphere na to. through the process of planetary differentiation. Ayan. Ba't ba nagka-layer yung Earth? Dahil dito, sa planetary differentiation. Okay? It created the Earth's layered structure in which the denser material, yung mabigat, sinks to the center, which eventually naging core, and then the less dense materials, yung magagaan, floated to the top, umangat, and eventually turning into the crust. Okay, so now we take a look at the geosphere through layering by physical properties. Ano ba yung layering by physical properties or characteristics? This refers to the classification that is based on compositional or density differences. What? Okay, so basically, may iba't ibang layer yung Earth and itong mga layer na to is based on their composition, ano bang meron sa kanila, at yung kanilang density. Yung pinakamagaan, less dense, nasa taas, in this case, ito, yung lithosphere. Yung pinakamabigat, nasa ilalim, nasa loob, none other than the inner core. Okay? So, may acronym. LAMOY, lithosphere, okay? Less dense, followed by asthenosphere, mesosphere, di lang sa atmosphere may mesosphere, meron din sa geosphere. And then we have the outer core and the inner core. Okay, so let's get to them one by one. Oh, lamoy na. Yan. That's layering by physical properties. Whereas meron din naman tayong tinatawag na layering by chemical properties. So the geosphere is also classified by layering by chemical properties. This classification is based on whether the layer is solid or liquid and could be on how weak or strong it is. Okay? So, crust, mantle, and core. Yan. Alam na natin yan, di ba? Pero syempre, babalikan natin yan later. Okay? So, if it's solid or liquid, and it depends on how strong or how weak is that layer. Okay, sige, let's get going and explore the crust, which is the thinnest layer. Okay? Kanyang range is about 5 to 80 kilometers in thickness and occupying less than 1% of the Earth's volume. Okay? And now there are two types of crust, right? We have the oceanic crust and the continental crust. Oceanic, of course, comprising the oceans, and the continental crust, the continents o yung mga lupa. So the continental crust, mostly comprised of granitic rocks, average thickness, 35 kilometers, mas magaan or less dense, okay? 2.7 grams per cubic centimeter. And the continental crust is older, okay? Older compared to the oceanic crust. Now, the oceanic crust is mostly comprised of basaltic rocks. Okay? Ito yung mas mabigat and the thinner crust. Denser siya, mabigat. So about 3 grams per cubic centimeters. And it's roughly 7 kilometers thick, okay, and a lot younger. 180 million years old daw siya. Okay? So, ulitin natin, no? Yung oceanic crust, denser, mabigat, but thinner. Whereas yung continental crust, less dense, but thicker. Okay? So, let's put it that way. Next, the thickest layer of the Earth is none other than the mantle. Okay? Pinakamakapal siya. And comprising 83% of the Earth's volume. The mantle is composed of different boundaries. Let's start off with the Mohorovičić discontinuity or also known as the MOHO. Okay? Ito yung patatas na kinakain sa Shakey's. Hindi pala yun. So the MOHO is the boundary between the crust and the mantle. Okay? So ano siya? Line of demarcation. Demarcation. Okay, so ano siya? Pananda. Oh. And named after seismologist Andrea Mohorovičić. So ito yung continental crust, di ba? And ito yung oceanic crust. Oh. Okay? Andito yung moho. Alright? Yan. Kita nyo, no? Yan. Okay? Next. More so, the mantle is about 2,900 kilometers in thickness and mainig sa mantle. Kita nyo naman yung temperature, 1,000 degrees Celsius to 3,700 degrees Celsius. Okay, upper and lower mantle, merong division din ng mantle, no? Upper and lower mantle. So the upper mantle is primarily composed of peridotite, okay, a rock, and it's made up of olivine or olivine, which is composed of magnesium and iron, as well as silicon and oxygen. Okay? So side by side, if we take a look at this, no, yung continental and oceanic crust is also known as the lithosphere. Okay? And then underneath the lithosphere is the asthenosphere. Okay? Asthenosphere. By the way, yung lithosphere kasi tinawag na ganun, from the word lithos means rocks. Okay? So yung asthenosphere, no, iunahan ko na yung slide. Dito nangyayari yung mga convection current. Okay? So yung convection current, kung naalala nyo pa yung junior high school science nyo, yung warmer gas, okay, turns to move upwards. Whereas the cooler, quote-unquote cooler, no, or lower in temperature na gas, moves downward. Okay? It forms a cycle. Okay? Cycle of current. Pag umiinit, umaangat. Pagka medyo bumababa ang temperature, umiilalim. Okay? Kaya nagge-generate ng mainit na temperature sa mantle at nagiging reason din ng paggalaw ng mga tectonic plates and yung volcanic eruption. Okay? Pero saka na muna natin yun. Pag-usapan in detail, that's a different story. Okay, so let's move further down the core. Okay, so the core is, its composition is thought to be mostly iron and nickel, plus with some oxygen, sulfur, and silicon. Wait a minute, sir. Sabihin siguro ng iba. Paano nalaman ng mga scientists na merong core at merong mantle ang Earth? And no one's been to that. Fair question. Alam niyo kung paano? Through the use of seismographs and of course with the help of the seismic waves. Okay? So, ginagamit yan ng mga geologists, mga scientists na inaaral ang kalupaan, okay, to monitor the presence of earthquakes, okay, yung paggalaw ng tectonic plates, and yung mga observe and monitor tsunami and other geologic activities. So may mga tinatawag tayo na primary waves at secondary waves. Yun yung mga seismic waves na continuously gumagalaw sa ilalim ng lupa. Okay? At to make the long story short, nagamit yung mga waves na yon to explore the interior of the Earth. Okay? Sige, balik tayo dito. It comprises 16%, the core comprises 16% of the Earth's volume, which is the densest portion of the Earth. Layering by physical properties, di ba? Lamoy, lithosphere, asthenosphere, mesosphere, outer, inner core. Ayun. Okay, so yung mesosphere, yun yung lower mantle. Okay, balik tayo dito. Gutenberg discontinuity. Ano naman yung Gutenberg discontinuity na yan? Okay, so if we arrange the geosphere by means of layering by chemical properties, okay, of course, we have the crust, the mantle, and the core. Oh. So the Gutenberg discontinuity is the boundary between the mantle and the core, and named after seismologist Benno Gutenberg. Okay? Titignan natin to, no? Di naman kailangan i-memorize ito, pero pinapakita lang namin sa inyo yung mga seismic discontinuity. Okay? Or boundaries or line of demarcation separating the crust, the upper and lower mantle, and of course, the outer and the inner core. Okay? So again, layering by physical or mechanical properties is defined based on the mechanical characteristics or mechanical properties. And this is observed. Ito yung sinagot kong tanong kanina. This is observed using the behavior of seismic waves as it travels through the interior of the Earth. See? Seismic waves traveling through the interior of the Earth. That's why we are assured, no, that what you're learning here is true. Okay? So we have the P wave or the primary wave. The primary wave passes through solid and liquid. Pwede sa solid, pwede sa liquid. Doon siya nakakapag-travel. Next, we have the S wave or the secondary or shear wave. S waves do not pass through liquid. Eh, ano ba yung liquid dyan? Nasa core. Nasa outer core. Okay? So, yun. Layering by physical properties, di ba? So, simulan natin sa lithosphere. So, the lithosphere composed of the continental and the oceanic crust as well as the upper mantle. Lithos, sabi nga, rocks. So, this is relatively rigid and known to break due to the stress and the site of most earthquakes, also known as faults or fault lines. Okay? And the lithosphere is broken up into large fragments called lithospheric plates, also known as tectonic plates. Para mga jigsaw puzzle pieces sa planeta natin na kapag gumagalaw, okay, pwedeng nagkakalayuan sila, nagbabanggaan, or nagkikiskisan. Okay? Leading to the formation of landforms, earthquakes, and so on. Okay? So that is the lithosphere. Next, we have the asthenosphere. From the word asthenos or weak. So the asthenosphere lies below the lithosphere from 100 kilometers until a depth of 660 kilometers. So basically, the lithosphere is floating on top of the asthenosphere. And sabi ko nga kanina, convection or the transfer of heat through moving liquids and gases occurs in the asthenosphere. Imagine niyo, 'di ba, kumukulo yung molten yung magma diyan, 'di ba? Kung ano-ano pang mga asupret gas. Okay? So yan yung asthenosphere. Next, The mesosphere or the lower mantle. Okay? Mesosphere or lower mantle, depth niya 660 kilometers to 2,900 kilometers. Lalim, di ba? Okay. Now, because of the increase in pressure na galing dun sa bigat ng lithosphere at ng asthenosphere, okay? The lower mantle gradually strengthens with depth. Okay? So, dahil dun sa pressure na na-exert ni lithosphere at ni atmosphere, tumitibay ang mesosphere. Okay? More so, the rocks within the lower mantle or mesosphere are very hot and capable of very gradual flow. Okay? Sobrang init, abot hanggang mesosphere. Okay. Now we move forward to the outer core. Lamoy. O, nasa O na tayo, no? So, the outer core is identified to be a liquid layer extending from 2,900 kilometers to 5,150 kilometers in depth. Sobrang lalim. Okay? The outer core, yung sinabi ko kanina na liquid, okay? Paano siya nalamang liquid? Kasi nga, hindi dito nakakapag-travel, dito nape-penetrate nung secondary waves. Okay? Also, in the outer core, it circulates via convection. Ano ba yung uli yung convection? Transfer or heat transfer through movement of liquids and gases. In this case, liquid nga yung outer core, and yung convection na nangyayari sa outer core generates the Earth's magnetic field. Okay? So, kaya merong invisible na magnetic field ang planeta natin dahil sa outer core. And the boundary separating the inner and the outer core is also known as the Lehman discontinuity. Ayun si Lehman discontinuity. And lastly, we have the inner core, which is the solid inner core. Solid siya. Kanina sa outer core, di ba? Liquid. Okay? So, solid iron yung composition niya. 5,150 kilometer to the center of the Earth. Okay? So, despite the higher temperature, the iron in the inner core is solid due to the pressures existing in the center of the planet. So, ito yung, ito yung invisible magnet ng planet. At kaya, nagkukos din ito ng gravity o gravitational pull sa planeta natin. Buti na lang, no, may gravity sa planet natin. Kundi, di nag-float na tayo. Okay? So, itong video na to, panoorin nyo na lang ulit at your free time. And if you stayed long enough at the end of the video, edi syempre, tapos na tayo. Okay? So, we just ended our CO1 discussion series. Again, thank you so much for viewing and listening intently sa ating recorded video lecture. Ingat at maraming salamat.